things is, I don't want to stand up here and give a presentation. What I really want to do is answer your questions. I want to, engage in a conversation. We have Randy Tinseth here, who runs our marketing. We have Mike Sinnott, who's head of our product development. And then we have Scott Fancher, who runs all the development for us across VCA. And as you know, we made that organizational change a couple of years ago where we put together a development organization that's completely focused on development. That's one of our key strategies when I took over, was to put that all under one leader and bring them all together so we could really take the lessons learned from our past experiences and from other experiences from other companies and such, and bring them all into one place. And so then we can, with the 5 development programs we have going on, we can learn from each other as we go, share multiple ideas, and then incorporate those as quickly as possible across the board. And I think it's paid big benefits for us as we've gone through the process of our development. And the other thing that we've been really focused on is our production system, and trying to get that as much efficient as possible. I think there's been some comments that have been made with respect to how we've incorporated our rates and those kinds of things. Let me just give you a couple statistics, because I think it's really important that you all understand what's been accomplished over the course of the last few years. We've increased our production over the last 5 years 60%. It's hard to recognize, but we're delivering now, this year anywhere between 750, 755 airplanes. It'll be another record. Since 2012, we've done 9 rate increases while improving the quality across the program by 10%. And we're at highest rates ever on 3 of our programs. Within that same time period, we've introduced 100 new customers, which is thousands and thousands of hours of engineering work that has to get done. And we're now operating on the 787 at 10 a month, which is the highest rate ever in history for a wide-body program. We did that in a 3-year time frame, so pretty incredible. And we did that all the while we were bringing in a new derivative, a major derivative in the 787-9, and bringing on Charleston, which was a whole new, brand new assembly facility down in South Carolina. So we've done a lot of different things over the course of the last few years, and we continue to press forward. We're looking to do more rate increases. On the 787, we're going to go to 47.
We've heard some public pushback from airlines, which has been consistent really for a while, but came up again last week. And just when you look ahead at future products, how do you sort of assess where a 2-engine option is appropriate? Is it strictly a function of the market size, or are things like competitive dynamics and customer preferences? How much of a weight in that calculation?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all the things you talked about. But you know, when you think back on the 787, when we moved that 2-engine offering, which is a brand new program, I think that makes a little bit of a difference, Steve. Where, you know, what kind of a new development are you doing? Are you doing an all-new airplane, or are you doing a derivative of an airplane? So you go back and you look at the 737 MAX, which was somewhat of a derivative, correct? We had this tremendous installed base and a tremendous combination of engine airframe with the CFM-7 and the 737 airframe, which was, you know, optimized around the engine, which gives you the best performance possible. What we're looking for is obviously the best performance possible, but you're also looking at installed base as well. So that comes into the decision making as well when you talk about that. And so that was, for us, that was the right decision. We really liked the CFM and combination of the 737 and the CFM, and for us, it seemed like the right decision as we move forward on that one. Same thing kind of holds true for the 777. When you look at the 300ER and the 200LR and the 777 freighter with the GE90, this is kind of a natural progression because of the installed base that was there, and clearly the performance of the GE engine on that airframe is outstanding. I mean, it's going to be a real game changer in that respect. So it was kind of a combination of all those things we talked about. Now, as we look to new products, you know, that will probably take a little different approach. You never know. But we'll weigh that as we go. Yes.
Transport World. So just following on from that, so we're still hearing from airlines, particularly the US majors, saying there's still a gap to replace the 757. They still don't see something that completely fits that niche for what that airplane does.
That's
Can you
correct.
talk to that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in our, you know, we've looked at this market segment really closely, and for what the airlines are looking for, we spent a lot of time with this, and Mike Sinnott has been, you know, out talking with the airlines a lot about that. And what we're hearing is that they want an airplane that's bigger than a 757 and flies further than a 757. There's no airplane today, I think, you know, the A321LR, it doesn't address the 757, can't carry as many passengers and can't fly as far. You know, the Dash 9 with the body tanks and those kind of things has more range than the 321LR today, but it doesn't carry quite as many passengers. So it is kind of a unique thing, but still, even at the end of the day, what the customers really want is something different from us. Like I said, something a little bit bigger and flies a little bit further. And that just sits right in between where the 787-8 and where the MAX or the Airbus product line stops. So there's a little bit of spot there, but it's a relatively nice sized marketplace as well. At least what we think. Okay. Okay, Dominic. Yeah. Oh, we're going here first? I'm sorry. We'll get back to Dominic. Okay.
Peter Ricketts from Asia Pacific Aerospace
Yeah.
Group. Could you
Peter's
tell
already.
me, good, thanks,
Good.
you tell me please, just what is the Boeing policy on mega cities that we hear about with the 380 and how they, what's the answer to the growing number of enormous cities and the people that fly there? Just what does Boeing believe?
Well,
is
we're,
the answer for
yeah,
this?
okay. Well, we have an airplane that would, you know, addresses the A380 in terms of, if somebody wants size, we've got a 747. Dash 8 that if you really want that high density, but we really believe that the world continues to fragment. It continues to want to go point to point. I mean, you know, frankly, how many people want to go someplace and gather and then spread out from there? That's not exactly what people want to do. You know, the interesting thing is that with the 787 and its unique capabilities in terms of range and size, we've opened up 55 new routes around the world that have been had not existed before. So that just speaks to, I think, what people are really looking for, what the airlines are really looking for. They're looking for an airplane, always looking for an airplane that provides the kind of efficiency that can take people to exactly where they want to go. Nobody really wants to go to a place, hub up, gather, go through that whole hassle, and then go off from there. I think I'm sure what you would prefer to do and what I would prefer to do is go direct.
Yes, sorry, with the size of a mega city, though, with the size, there would be a fair market of people that do want to go and see their auntie that lives in a mega city.
Oh, sure.
From a mega city, everybody doesn't fragment. So what's the answer there? Just
Well, I mean,
bigger 7
it's, well, no, I think, I never said that there wasn't a market for that. It's just a very limited market. It's a small market. It's not as big as the other markets that we would see. There is a market for that. Randy, what is for those airplane types?
About 540 airplanes,
Yeah,
and about a third of them will be freighters, and about,
yeah, go ahead.
so when we take a look at the large airplane market segment, it's about 540 airplanes, something relatively close to that. About a third of them will be freighters, about 2/3 passenger airplanes. It is a very clear trend. A handful of airlines, a handful of routes for airplanes make sense, but the bulk of the market is really around 787 sized airplanes, 777 sized airplanes, and the medium wide bodies from our competition.
Yeah. And that's, and then that's one of the reasons why we feel very fortunate to have the 747, because it's both a passenger and a freighter. So we can address that market in a couple different ways, both with the freighter and with the passenger.
Hi, Ray. Dominic Hughes, Seattle Times.
Yes, Tommy?
I think it was the Sunday Times recently reported that Airbus is asking the UK government for launch aid for the potential A380neo.
Yes.
So, first of all, do you have any information about whether Airbus is asking the other European governments for that? And do you have any comment on that? And after all this case at the WTO, it seems to have had absolutely no effect. So,
Yeah.
where do you go from there?
Well, I mean, that's a very good question, Tommy. Thank you for asking that. I don't know. I felt as though it was pretty clear was a kind of a path that they were looking to go down. I'm not sure, what the response is. We haven't. I mean, we won the WTO case that said that was inappropriate, but I think, some people have said, well, you've gotten the same benefit through the Washington State tax legislation, and I want to make a little bit of clarity around that. There's been some comments about that as well. That was a tax incentive package that was put in place in 2003, and it was an aerospace tax incentive package that was available to all aerospace companies in the state of Washington. And we're just one of those many, and there's about 2,500 aerospace companies in the state of Washington today that benefit from that. And frankly, if Airbus or Bombardier or any of our other competitors wanted to come to Washington State and produce airplanes and such, they would get the benefit of that as well. So there's been some comment about, well, we got this big, subsidy, so to speak, from our state. Well, that's really not completely accurate. Everybody that is in aerospace benefits from that. Whether they go forward with that, we'll address it, as it comes along. But that would clearly not be, in my mind, in light of what the WTO case said. That was something that was supposed to not happen again.
Do you believe that they are asking for that at this stage?
I really can't comment on that. I don't know, Dominic. I really don't know. I don't have any firm intelligence that would say that.
Hello, Angela Tolkien from the Associated Press. A couple of quick questions for a general audience. First of all, how is the lower oil price this year affecting your business, if at all? Second of all, if you could speak a little about this air show so far, where are you seeing the biggest interest, and notably for the cameras, if you could talk about the deal announced this morning with AirCap.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, lower oil prices, I think it's going to, obviously it's going to be a benefit to our government customers here near term, which is always good. You know, when airlines make money, they tend to buy aircraft, which is a great thing. You know, no matter what, the airplanes that we are producing today, with their efficiency, are going to produce in the future, are still going to provide a tremendous benefit. Fuel is still a very big piece of the airline cost, and frankly, when we launched the 787, a barrel of oil was like, what, $40 a barrel. So at $60 a barrel, I think the airplane still makes sense in terms of efficiency. And irrespective of that, with the environmental improvements and with the fuel burn improvements, they're still the right thing to do, right thing to go forward. I think the good thing is that it's allowed the airlines to, get a little break here and make a little bit more money, which is always good for the industry. With respect to the AerCap deal, it's something that we've been working with them for quite some time, and they're a huge customer of ours, actually, one of our largest customers, and getting them in the 737 MAX was the right thing to do. Right thing to do for them, right thing to do for us.
And the show so far?
The show so far? Well, I don't know. It's been good. I turned 60 on Sunday, and my 30th wedding anniversary was last night, so I've had a great time.
And in terms of the planes getting the most interest, is it still 737?
Yeah, I think that's, bulk of where the, order activity is at, but, I think there's been a lot of buzz about the 787, the flying has been great. One thing that I was excited about was the China Airlines 777-300ER that's on display. If you were to have attended the press conference that we did yesterday, here's, everybody says, we're at the end of the line on the 777, but the fact of the matter is, that's a brand new customer for the 777, a brand new customer that's out there. In fact, when you think about the 777-300ER, we've sold 3 airplanes to one A350-1000 since they launched the program. So in essence, we're outselling the 1000 with our 777-300ER, but we introduced a new customer, China Airlines. Big customer, big airline, but what they did in the interior is phenomenal. The attention to detail that they put in place there, and it's on display. And I think, for me, that just says a lot. It says a lot about the airplane, it says a lot about the interests of the customers, and then it says a lot about the innovation that's going on in the industry with respect to inside the cabin. If you were to listen to Ray Chen, who designed the interior yesterday, the phenomenal amount of detail and thought that went into that, it's really incredible. And if you get a chance, I would just encourage you to go out and tour the airplane, because it is stunning, and it just shows you what we can do in the aircraft today, and the amount of attention and detail and the amount of comfort and things that people are putting in there for our passengers, our fine public, which is tremendous, actually. So I think between flying, a few orders, and the China Airlines display, it's been really great. Yes, Julie.
Yeah, great. Aeroflot said this morning that they're canceling their orders for 22 787s. I know you won't have any difficulty filling those slots, but does this raise concerns about other potential deliveries to that market and the ability to finance those planes?
Well, this is the situation there is very, very difficult. But we've delivered most all of our airplanes to the Russian customers over the course of the last year. Aeroflot, I was not, I don't know, they may have said that we haven't worked through the details of that, but there's still a lot of people that are still buying airplanes. I think you'll hear about that, but we'll just have to deal with that with Aeroflot. They're in a little bit of a unique situation. It's tough. That's a tough market right now in a couple other places as well. So we'll deal with it. We won't, like you said, I don't think it's going to be anything that we won't have a hard time dealing with if that does happen. because there's a tremendous amount of demand still today for the 787. I can guarantee you that. And we're sold out to 2019. So, yes.
Sebastian Steinke from Germany. I do have a question concerning your manufacturing, please. I have the impression that Boeing is very modern and very much focused on modernizing the production system, and you have different approaches to do so. You have the traditional Boeing style, do it under one roof with your own guys, and you have the global concept like 787, and now with the 777X you bring back some parts to your own factories, but still have your partnerships. What do you see as the perfect system for the future, if you have a strategic outlook? What is the perfect way to do it? You are very modern with very different concepts, but what's the right way to go? Thank you.
Well, I think it's a little bit different with every product type, depending on what the volumes are going to be and those kinds of things. We had a very established production system in Everett with the 777 today, and we wanted to weave that into the existing production system that we have there with the 777X. The one thing that we did want to do associated with the wing was develop our own composite wing. We felt very strongly about that in terms of developing that internally. It's, in order to be a great buyer, you got to be a builder, I believe, and that was something that we wanted to do. It was, we did a lot of the design work on the 787, but we wanted to actually be into the production work of that. It's important for us to understand and do the technology, and we wanted to advance some of the technology around that wing production as well. So these were, decisions that we made. Every one of them are strategic in their nature. Whether we keep things under one roof, I think, if we can do that, it drives a little bit more efficiency. Spreading out a little bit is a little bit tough. We have done a great job, I think, of incorporating the Charleston facility into the 787. But then again, here you are, you're at a 10 a month on a wide body. That's a tremendous rate for anything. So doing it in two places allows us a lot of flexibility in terms of what we can do from a production system with respect to rate. Trying to do that many airplanes under one roof might be more than what you can do. It gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of what you can do.
If I might ask a little question, would you like to buy back Spirit possibly? Because now your production goes up so much, and isn't this your business? You sell these airplanes and they build it?
Yeah, but we have that all the time. I mean, that's, we have partners that are, Japanese build a tremendous amount of the 777 today, and they'll continue to do that. We're not in the market to buy Spirit at this particular point in time to go. Yes.
Thanks, Ray. The supply chain is something that people have been talking about, is can it keep up with the record order levels? Can you tell us how you're building on Partnership for Success and what your next steps are in terms of the strategy with the supply chain?
Sure. Yeah, you bet. We put in place a very rigorous rate readiness team in terms of our approach to rate readiness, and we've got, I think, about 400 people that are out in the supply chain physically, making sure that all our suppliers are ready for rate capable, doing a lot of the detail analysis all the way down into our tier 3 raw material suppliers. So we're spending a lot of time with that, and that's why we've been able to, increase the rates 9 times over the course of the last couple of years, which is, I think, a real testament not only to our suppliers, but to the process that we put in place to manage that. And, we will not execute a rate unless we feel like we're ready to go. And that's why we're, and we put enough space in there so people can kind of get their feet underneath them, and then we take it up. So we'll go up to 47 here in 2016, and then we'll go higher after that. But we make sure that everybody's capable. They have all the capital equipment in place, and they've done all the appropriate investments in terms of training, in terms of tooling, and then there we look at how they are procuring their raw materials and those kinds of things. That's kind of detail we get into. Partnering for Success and, you know, everybody I know has the feeling that that's just a kind of a cost grab in that way. This is really about how do we, as a supply chain, as a value stream, as a production system, do we get more efficient? And then how do we share in that efficiency with respect to, you know, cost or price, or whatever the case may be, and then how do we share that with our customers? We understand the competitiveness of the marketplace and the need to continue to always be more efficient so we can stay ahead of the game. You know, we're just starting this, and we've done a lot of work with that, and I think it shows in our ability to take the race up. Yes.
AFB.
Yes.
On environmental issues.
Yes.
Can you sort of tell us, thanks, on environmental issues, can you sort of give us some idea, not so much as what the situation is today, but what you're looking at in the future?
Well, you know, these new airplanes that we have are tremendously efficient. I'll give you a little statistic. You know, with the 87, we have saved approximately 1 million metric tons. 2 million. As these new cars come out, they're obviously much more
Because while we're at the same time trying to reduce the fuel burn of the airplanes, we're also working with the industry to ensure that the fuel that we do burn has less of an impact on the environment. And that's one of the great things about biofuels. And you can look around the world at our partnerships. Cane in Brazil, tobacco in South Africa, gutter oil in China. You know, all around the world, we're working with local organizations to try to improve the feedstock capability for biofuels to reduce the overall impact on the environment of the CO2 that gets added when the fuel is burned. And on the eco-demonstrator airplane, we've been demonstrating not only the use of biofuels, but green diesel as well. And we're working with the industry to try to bring green diesel forward in addition to the biofuels. And so, and then when you think beyond just the fuel and the emissions and the materials that go into the airplane, you look at recycling. And you know, right now on the 757 eco-demonstrator, we're flying a recycled aisle stand that was 3D printed from composite material from the 787 production system. And so we're looking not only at the fuel and the impact of the fuel, but we're also looking at the materials that are produced in production as well.
Now, you're going to be doing a presentation on it, right?
We did that yesterday.
You did that yesterday, so yeah. We're doing a lot of different things. That's why I wanted Mike here so he can speak to that.
Marie Tizon from La Presse in Montreal. Bombardier is thinking about a bigger C-Series, a CS500.
Yeah.
Is it a threat for you?
Well, it will be stepping into our marketplace, so therefore it would be a new competitor to us, and we look forward to that opportunity. With great gusto.
John Ostrauer, Wall Street
Yes,
Journal. Question about 777X. You're aiming for firm configuration later this year.
Yes.
How is that progressing from the point of view of cost control and ultimately keeping the development costs in check? What have you weighed and what have you not kind of moved away from as far as what you think you can do for the non-recurring side of things?
Well, I mean, first of all, John, we're taking this is one of the reasons why we have put the development organization in place. Anything that we're learning that's really positive, coming off the MAX, we're going to apply into the 777X. But I would say it's not just about the non-recurring. We are looking at this from both the non-recurring investment and from the recurring investment. We've made, because we know at the end of the day what it costs to on one we're weighing every item. I mean, this is what Scott's total focus is at this point in his organization's focus is, you know, we're looking at reuse, we're looking at, you know, all the different efficiencies that means so we can start to drive more commonality across our products. This is a little bit something that we hadn't done as much in the past, looking at how we do use commonality all the way through, in terms of down into the, you know, smaller parts and those kinds of things. You know, we tend to look at what maybe a flight deck or something like that, but we're looking at it in a much different way than we have in the past. I don't know, Scott, maybe you can speak to that a little bit more, but.
Yeah, I think Ray really captured it. The only other thing I'd add is that, you know, we set targets for ourselves for both recurring and non-recurring. We set targets for ourselves on both non-recurring and recurring on the airplane, and we continue to meet those targets and continue to improve on those targets. It's part of the design process that we've implemented.
And you know, when we, you know, John, one thing that we do is each one of the new technologies, so to speak, we'll do a business case on it. And we look at it from a much broader perspective, maybe not even on that particular airplane, but you know, that airplane plus, you know, what we could apply maybe to some other airplanes as well. And if we can't make that work, then we won't put it on. We'll take it off. So it's been a real balance. You know, it's, you know, innovation comes in a lot of different forms. How do you innovate to create the most efficient production system available? How do you innovate to create the most efficient airplane available? And how do you innovate to create real value for your customers? What do they see as real value? That's kind of where we're focused ourselves these days. Not just creating the most technologically advanced airplane, but an airplane that's technologically advanced in all the right areas, both from a performance standpoint, from a cost standpoint, and being able to deliver it and maintain the airplane on time.
Sorry, I just
Yes.
I was forced. You mentioned that the priority was to produce and delivery on time. You just mentioned now innovation. What about preparing the future at Boeing? What about preparing the future?
In the future?
Yeah, preparing the future.
Preparing?
The future.
The future?
Yeah.
Preparing? Okay, I got it now. Okay, sorry about that. Well, I mean, like I said, we've got, when you throw a tanker in there and some of the other things, we got 5 development programs going on. So that is the future. And then as we think about the middle of the market and what we may do there, you know, we're going to bring all the things that we've learned off all these other ones, and we'll bring that into that program. Again, these are all going to be about how do you bring an airplane to the marketplace in the most efficient way possible and be able to compete in terms of both airplane performance and airplane price and cost. And that's the name of the game as we move forward here. And how do you drive the most value to the customer that he's really willing to, or she's really willing to pay for. So those are all the things that we're doing, and that's all the things that we're doing today on the development programs right now. We're going through all those things. So what we're doing today in terms of these 5 programs, we're going to apply to the future as we move forward.
Ray, just to kind of follow on about middle of the market airplane. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of ink spilled this week about what you guys might do in 2023, 4, 5. How much of that discussion is an overreaction or an over-rotation on the part of folks on my side of the fence viewing what your comments, either out of, whether it's out of proportion or out of context in terms of the pace of development? Ultimately, what I'm curious about is how much of the talk of a new middle of the market airplane is heat and how much of it is light?
When you say heat, what do you mean by heat?
Well, I mean, Sonic Cruiser was a lot of heat, but there wasn't a lot of light there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Interesting way to look at it. Well, look, here's what I would say, John. I'm getting tired of standing behind here. Does this work? Yes. It works. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, this airplane hasn't, we've been in discussions with our customer base for a number of years. When we were, finishing up the 87, we were talking about, and as we were looking at the MAX, we were talking about this market as well. And this is something that is a pull from the customer base. It's something that we've been engaging on with Mike. We've been talking with the customers now for almost a year. We've gone around and really wanted to understand what they're looking for. So, I mean, this then becomes a question of whether or not we can actually execute and bring that to the marketplace if we want. So we're still in a lot of the data gathering stage and trying to understand exactly what the customer base is looking for. And I think we've got getting a much better feel for that. And now it's a matter of going back and doing your homework to see if you can actually do that. We haven't said we're going to do it. But we know that there's a marketplace there. Now it's a matter of can we execute to the point of being able to deliver on that. So we still got a lot of work to do. We're in the very early stages of that, but we do know that this is a place for people, where the customers do want to go. So it's really, now we got to go do some real homework. Okay.
Philippe Cochon, Montreal. We know that the 757 has been built around the 737 fuselage.
Yeah.
So if you start a replacement for that wonderful aircraft that was the 757 without any replacement now, could it be a beginning of the replacement at the same time using the same fuselage for the replacement of the 737? Would you use the same cross-section as you did before?
Those are all things that we're thinking about. I mean, we've got to think that, back to the question that was over here, how are you preparing? Those are the kinds of things that you have to think about as you look at a new product. Is it a product that would be, something that you could build off of? And, that's some of the homework that we're doing. Beyond that, that's all I can really say about it. But that's kind of where our heads think. We think about 20, 30 years down the road. But the MAX is going to be around for a long time, and the idea would be we want to address that other market first. Oh yes, Kim. Yeah.
Just following up on John's question, to just be specific about this, is normally when you're gathering data, you often wouldn't talk about that in public. And some people do feel that perhaps this is a smokescreen because you feel, perhaps people on the Airbus side of the air show feel that this is a smokescreen because you're worried about the A321. Is that true? And secondly, I wondered how concerned you were that the 737 MAX market really seems to be focusing on one variant, 8, and whether that is a problem for you in terms of family of aircraft.
No, okay. Frankly, there's a lot of things that get said that I don't really pay that much attention to. I pay a lot of attention to what we know. And the one thing that we do know is that the 737 MAX is the fastest selling airplane we've had. And at the heart of the market, the reason why people are buying the 8 is that's the heart of the market. That's where most of the airplanes are in terms of their demand. It's like 70% of the market. The 321, we have a tremendous advantage, we believe, with the 8 over the 320. They've got a seat advantage with us on the 321. But I can tell you our discussions with our customers have not been as a result of us being concerned about, the family, the 737 MAX family, or our concerns about the 321. We are addressing something that's not there today, or we are having discussions about something that's not there today. It's just gained a lot of, momentum over the course of the last, few weeks and such. But no, we're not doing this out of constraint.
Ray, sorry, following up again on the same topic, but this new airplane you're thinking about is 10 years away.
Yeah.
And at this time, the A321neo is outselling the MAX 9 4-to-1.
The market is that, you know, a lot of people are buying the 321, and then a lot of people are buying the 9. If, you know, the 9 is still, okay, so let's go back. The 9 has more range than a 321. It doesn't carry quite as many passengers, but it's more efficient than the A320. So, you know, I could say this, you know, take the same argument down into the MAX 8. Again, the heart of the market is in that 320 and 737 MAX 8 size. That's where 70% of the single aisle market is. So that's I mean, we have a tremendous advantage there.
How is Boeing planning on increasing its share of the aftermarket side of business in the future?
Yeah, good question. You know, we have our CASP organization, and it's built off services and support. With any good service organization, has to have a great support organization. You know, we've made a lot of headway on the services side of things. We're now number 2 in that marketplace today in terms of market share. We think that we have a great lineup of products. We think that you know, we have the ability, great knowledge of the airplane, great knowledge of our customer base. This is some place where we're investing a lot more of our time and our energy, and all the things that we do associated with our development is always with that in mind. So that's one of the things that Scott's team is focused on, along with Stan Deal, who runs our services, support and services side. Okay, good. Hey, thanks you guys. I really appreciate, you know, everybody being here. Hopefully this format was a little bit better. I don't know if you guys are happy. Better for me, that's for sure.